Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
Grif.
Baka.
What's up, guys?
Hey guys, you ready? Y'all ready to start?
You ready to start?
Wait,
Do you want
no,
me to do the intro again?
Hang on, I broke everything. Let's reset that. No, I'm just kidding. Good God.
I would not be surprised if it was the one that broke it off.
Everything's on fire. We'll have to go again.
Everything's on fire, but it's fine. Just keep going.
Just use create water and then make it all go out.
It's just a little warm. It's still good. It's still good.
Exactly. It makes it steam, harder to shoot through.
Oh my God. It's just one of those days, everybody. One of those. What's going on? We don't know.
What's going on?
With it. Let's just roll with it. Where do we want to start the news so that we can talk about what we've been playing? Because we did play some group games and stuff recently.
Yeah. Then we'll just start with the Nintendo Direct that happened. I think it was
the
right
thing
after
that I know the
last
least
one.
about. Let's go.
Yeah. It wasn't like groundbreaking, but they had some pretty nice stuff.
I think the good thing about Nintendo had a good year last year, and adding on to that was kind of nice. I think the Metro Prime 4. I think people kind of thought that game had gone away for another 10 years, so it was nice to see a little bit of that. And then they had the I never got to play Metro Prime series at all, so they did their remake of Metro Prime that they put on Switch, and I started it too. It looks really good.
Yeah,
so
Metroid Prime. I guarantee, when they restarted production of Metroid Prime 4, they were like, okay, this is taking too long. Just here's the specs of the next console. Just build it to this one. And then, because it's coming out next year, and more than likely we'll see the Switch 2, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it, next year, the Super Switch. The Nintendo Super Switch.
The Switch 64?
No, that's later on.
That's the third one.
Yeah, that'll be the Nintendo 46.
But what is the Switch Cube going to be like? I mean, I got to know, because then you got to make it a cube, but it's hard to hold.
Man.
It's going to be a box, and you just hold it.
And, shift it?
And, yeah.
Or you play it like a Rubik's Cube?
Buttons. Yeah.
Oh no, I got it even better. They're going back to local party, and it's going to be a cube that you put down, and it projects a screen, and it can do 4 screens, so you can have everybody sitting around the console and playing on their own virtual screen.
So across from each other, basically. That'd be fun.
Pretty much. Come on, tell me that would not be pretty fucking badass. And it's Nintendo.
And I'm telling you right now, if Battleship doesn't crank up on that, I'll be so mad. To where only we could see it, nobody else could see it. But we're all 4 sitting around.
Oh man, that'd be good.
That'd be so good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
Yeah, there'd be way too much screen hooking.
I'm just stretching. I'm not looking at yours. I'm just stretching.
Where are you?
Yeah. You gotta put up cubicles for every person.
It comes with the partitions. It's a peripheral that you can buy.
The Nintendo Lab stuff. You could build your own cubicle.
There you go. Bring it back.
It's a smart cubicle. Oh, shit.
I think one of the interesting things, too, that they announced was the new Zelda game. Zelda is actually the protagonist in the game and it has to go save Link. Which I think is interesting.
I mean, so the thing with that is, okay, so one, there's going to be people that are going to throw a fit about that.
Of course. Who cares? Those people are stupid.
And two, this is the second time she has been in a game as the lead protagonist, because there's the old Philips CDI things. I know people like people like to say they don't count, but technically this is her second outing. So
why can't we change the name?
It's Nintendo in charge. I'm sure that this will fare a lot better in comparison.
I think that we should
to that
change
console
the
in
name to
general.
Legend of Link so that it can be equally as confusing.
No, because this is...
people already call him Zelda.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You change it so that it's still confusing and weird.
But I mean, watching all these Legend of Zelda games throughout the entirety of its existence, it feels like it is Zelda's story with just Link being the hero. It's always about Zelda, which I find ironic. It's Zelda is the one that's being rescued or saved or however, and it's called The Legend of Zelda. Yet in Mario, it's called the Mario games or the Mario Brothers when instead of the Peach games or Peach Castle or whatever, because we're saving Peach. Link is saving Zelda. He doesn't get his name on the game. Mario is saving Peach. All the games are named after him.
Well, Peach got her own game now.
Well,
Though.
I
to be fair, even in the original Legend of Zelda game, you named your hero.
Yeah, that is true. And it did make it harder, if I'm not mistaken, if you named him Link or Zelda. I think it was Link. In the original.
I don't remember that, but it's been a really, really long time.
It was only released like a few years ago, right?
A few
years.
Just a few years.
Original, Legend of Zelda with the gold cartridge for,
That was the second one that was gold.
Yeah.
That was the second release of it?
No, the second game is gold cartridge.
Was
The
it?
original
Okay.
cartridge is not gold, I don't think.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah, I thought that
It
was
is
the
gold?
first one.
I own one.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I've got one too. I've got one in there.
My friend that had the NES.
At one point, I owned 5 of them. I don't know how.
Why?
I don't know how, and I don't know where they all came from. But at one point, we owned like 5 of them, and I sold like 3.
Huh. Sometimes
I
that
think
happens.
some of it was like some friends, like when they got the whatever the next system, the Genesis or the Super Nintendo, depending on which ones, they were getting rid of all their old stuff. So my parents would also take or buy some of their stuff like cheap, or maybe at garage sales in bundles or something. I don't know, because I also know at one point we had 3 original Nintendos.
Pretty sure I don't have a
So-
Nintendo anymore. Somewhere. If we do have
I
one.
have I have my original one still, and I don't know where. No, there's another one, but it's packed down. It didn't have any cords or anything to it.
And yes, if you named your character file in the original Legend of Zelda, it started you on the second quest. So it made the game more difficult right out of the gate.
Yeah,
But it was one of those Easter eggs.
Well then.
yeah.
Oh. But it's nice
been
to
a
see,
really long time since I played that one. So
yeah. It's nice to see Zelda getting the spotlight. Peach has got the spotlight. Zelda gets her spotlight. Peach getting the spotlight. Luigi's getting his spotlight too. The Mario and Luigi brothership, it actually looks pretty good. Like it's an RPG between the two. Like it's like what the Super Mario RPG that came out earlier this year, I think it is. It's kind of like that, but a little bit more open world.
Well, yeah, they've done a Mario and Luigi game like back on the first one was Game Boy.
Yeah,
Advance?
this is a sequel, I believe.
Is this the sequel to it?
Yeah, Bowser's Inside Story. What was on the DS?
Yeah.
Well, it's
And then
Mario and
they
Luigi, so our child's gonna be all about it.
Oh, hell
But I
yeah.
mean, Luigi's had his spotlight. He's got his mansion stuff, and then they've done the Luigi's Mansion 2 is getting an
HD
HD
remaster.
version. Yeah.
So don't forget Mario is missing.
Mario
Yes.
is missing.
Mario.
I
Well, yeah.
remember reading that from the video store and be like, what the fuck is this?
But it looks good. Mechanics looks fun. Combat looks fun. The platforming looks good. Like it's gonna be a solid game. Like Nintendo games just sell well. Like there's no other way to put it. They just always sell.
They do. They had a couple of remakes. They've got the Donkey Kong Country Returns, which is a 3DS game that's being moved over to Switch. And then they announced a new Super Mario Party.
Woo. Okay. Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Yes.
That thing is gonna be something else.
Why?
Because
I am
supports
so
up to
glad that
20
they
people.
did not do the other thing where it was like, yeah, it's nothing but just a bunch of mini games. There's no board or anything
Ugh.
else. Like what?
That was terrible.
Nintendo learned their lesson after that one. They're like, no, people want the rest of the shit.
Yes. After they've been learning better and better over the years about, what people actually want from their games. And Jamboree looks like it's going to be pretty fun. To bring back a couple of the classic maps and the 20-player mode. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to
That sounds
work.
so chaotic.
Yes.
So chaotic in so many levels. Because, I mean, how do you do the mini game part of that?
10 teams of 2.
I don't even know.
I mean, is it just
there
the board
are,
game?
like, there's, if you watch the thing, there's, like, a whole thing with 20 people trying to chase. Like, there are mini games with 10, 15, 20 people in them. So
that's a lot.
That is crazy. You're going to have
too many people.
Well, no, you say that, but you have these games like Party Animals and Gang Beasts and Fall Guys who do these party, like, large party style sized games, and people enjoy them. So Nintendo's like, let's jump on it. Give them the option to. It's not the only part of the game, but you have an option to. And people always complain about wanting more online.
My question is, who the fuck has 20 friends?
I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be online matching.
It'll be an online matchmaking,
like you do with Mario Kart
or Splatoon.
Yeah, I know, but still, like, who has 20 friends with 20 switches to play this online?
No, you just go online and do random matchmaking.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna get like a full. Well, okay, I say nobody. There are people that will manage it, but
oh yeah,
for the mass majority, it will just be a matchmaking system.
But again, we've always complained about Nintendo not having enough, online matchmaking, or they're so limited on their co-op and things like that. But Nintendo's like, cool, let's make more matchmaking games. So Mario Party is going to be a big matchmaking game.
Yeah.
Because the problem was, I don't remember which one it was that did not have multiplayer, or you couldn't play online. I know it was one of the recent ones, if not the last one, and the one right before that. People complained the shit out of it because you couldn't play with your friends. And then
the reason what one?
Mario Party.
It must be because I've got the most recent one.
You can play that one online.
We don't
right?
play. I don't think there's an online version of that.
Okay, see that one might be the one. And a lot of people wanted to play with their friends online, and they just couldn't.
Well, I mean, you want to play Mario Party with friends. It makes sense.
Exactly.
You're correct. You do want to play it with friends, but I also like talking to my friends when I'm playing games and having to have a third-party apps on my phone.
Yeah. Well,
that's why I've got all. That's why I've got all my stuff right here. And like when I was playing with, see, it's so much easier because I was playing with Snitty and Red, and we would just use Discord and play our Switches. Like, because I had my TV up here, my Switch right here, and I could just, play the Switch while I'm at my computer. But again, it's like you gotta have your third. It is very annoying.
What else? What else from Nintendo?
The one that I am super, super digging is the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. So they had the what's it called? The Tetris 99, which was 100 players playing Tetris. Okay. And it was fun. It's super popular. This one is, I guess, 100 people speed running the old Nintendo games together.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick a game, and then you queue up, I guess, and then you basically just race against other people doing it, and then you see who can go the farthest and last the longest.
It's basically the old World Championship cartridge that they use for the championships, where people did like certain levels or whatever for each game, and try to get through at the fastest times or whatever, and then it would switch to a different game, a different genre. But now you're just going to be competing with a bunch of people online.
Which I think this is Nintendo finally going, hey, the speedrunner community absolutely loves Nintendo games. Let's give it to them. And like, this is just them kind of being like, all right, cool. The speedrun community is going to eat this thing up. Oh my god.
They're going to be competing online and
yes,
destroying people.
Oh yes, like
because they have been playing a lot of these games for years.
Yeah, like watching people. who play Mario Brothers casually versus people who speed run it regularly is just
Serious business.
mind blowing. Like these people have like designed muscle memory. I'm pretty sure they're sitting there like after playing a game, they're making sandwiches like button mashing the bread because they like their hands are still in like gamer mode. They're like, oh god damn it, ugh, I need another piece of bread. Then they go out there and just start mashing the loaf. Ah, my hand, stop it.
Smash
I
my
think
Like
I
they're
ended up
possessed.
seeing like all of the jumps and everything, and like while I'm just in real person walking around, having a hard time doing anything.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh goodness. Nintendo Switch Sports is adding basketball as a free update this summer, which some people are gonna like. I know some people play it. Uh, they're adding some new Nintendo 64 games and Game Boy Advance games. Perfect Dark and Turok, Metroid Zero Mission, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Uh, Nintendo does a pretty good job at like continuously feeding into their console. Always have something going, some big titles or something going on, which is nice. Like it's
I like the virtual console thing too, though.
yeah,
Like going in and being able to pull up a 64 game or original NES game or SNES game, whatever, is awesome.
oh yes, for sure,
Um,
100%. Like, Nintendo is definitely hitting the nail on the head with their content, their consoles, their part of the gaming world, and they're
they
catching
added
up with everybody else.
there's a free DLC to a free update to Disney Illusions Island, which was a fun platformer for those that like platformers. So not Grif.
I'm out. Wait till we get to talking about the stuff we've played. I'll be talking about why I can't play platformers.
You know.
Yeah, you're
Um,
fine.
But I'm excited about that one because it's got like an add-on story wise and all that type of stuff, which is nice. But I'm trying to see if there was anything else that really stood
Mad
out.
at you.
Well, the Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports might be fun, but I really want them to bring back the Looney Tune racings from back in the day. Like I want a modernized version of that.
I mean,
For those that are fans of Stray, it's getting or wanted to play Stray and only have a Switch, then it's getting a Switch
It's
version.
on its way.
It's on its way. It's on its way this holiday. See? It rhymes.
oh, get out. Get out.
uh,
See yourself to the door right now, sir.
They also announced that Among Us has got some new roles as crewmate roles and stuff that are coming out. One is the you got the noisemaker, the tracker, the phantom, which is kind of interesting. The tracker, of course, tracks somebody and
You
can
don't
see
say.
exactly where that person's at. The phantom can go invisible after they've killed somebody.
ooh,
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah,
That is
so I
dangerous.
was like, that's kind of interesting. And then, or I don't know if it's just after you kill somebody, but they can go invisible. So I guess you kill somebody, leave the room so nobody can see that you were the one that did it. And then I'm not really sure. It says that a noisemaker that alerts players when they are eliminated. So I guess as the noisemaker, if you die, then everybody knows that you've been eliminated.
Yeah. Oh man. So then you go to call an emergency meeting, and you know who the noisemaker was. You know somebody's dead.
Right.
That sounds interesting, though.
Mhm.
We'll have to.
I like that they're changing up the gameplay.
Yeah, trying to keep it a little fresh. I mean, games like that you can only keep alive for so long before it gets stale.
Well, and then they had tried to do Among Us too, and then they decided instead just to add these on to what they
Among
were
Us.
already, what they're already doing. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that's pretty awesome. They decided to do that. A little bit of minor stuff. I don't see anything.
Yeah, you're forgetting Marvel vs. Capcom collection.
Oh yeah, that's there. It's a lot of games too.
Yeah. About Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the first one, Punisher, which is more of a side-scrolling beat 'em up, I think. Children of the Atom, X-Men versus Street Fighter.
Damn, there's a lot of games.
It's a ton.
That's like 7 games for it.
Yeah, that's 7 games. Damn, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good deal right there.
It just says it'll be out later this year. It doesn't say when.
I will probably be grabbing that one.
Wait, you're getting fighting games? That's weird.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think.
Figured.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed. Seems so out of your wheelhouse.
So weird. Anything else from Nintendo?
That was the most part. I mean, there's some RPGs, JRPGs, Tales of the Shire.
Well, why are they doing a Lego version of Horizon?
Nintendo and Lego set up a deal, and it's only on Switch and PlayStation, and I don't even think it's on PC.
Yeah,
it just seems weird. It's like, okay, it's already a game. Why is it being remade just in Lego form again?
It's to make it okay. It's to make it kid friendly, because my child is too young to like get into real Jurassic Park or Jurassic World stuff. But the Lego version of the game, he could play. He could get into.
There's Lego versions of Jurassic Park.
I know, but that's fine. Like that's what he can play. He can't play the real Jurassic Park, just like he couldn't play the real Horizon, but he can play a Lego version. The Lego versions are meant to be a toned down, soft version of the game because they're just Legos. They're not serious. They're not dangerous. You can go to the store and buy some Legos and build them and play with them however you want. It's not, exploding or, really violent or things like that. No getting eaten alive or shit like that. You can kind of just pop the Legos apart.
There is, but they just kind of...
They make it way more kid friendly. It's a kid accessible version of something essentially.
And that's the big thing these days, especially with Nintendo, is they're trying to hit a younger audience too for certain games that they can't play. Mm-hmm. So if they do it like this, which is fine. If they were like, I'm going to make a Lego version of GTA, they make it all comedy, like lighthearted comedy and things like that, then kids can play it.
Well, it also allows them, like gameplay-wise, not just for the content itself, but gameplay-wise, it's a simpler gameplay. Mm-hmm. So it helps with them as they're trying to create their gaming knowledge. Do it at a rate they'll be able to do it and play a game that is enjoyable. And there's a lot of people that already love the original games and also love Lego games, and it'll appeal to them as well.
Yeah, it's the old double dipping that they're doing. Make the game and then make the game in Legos.
Yeah. I don't hate it though. Like, I think it's harder to understand if you don't have kids, because sometimes they'll catch you playing a game or watching something and you're like, oh, you can't, that's not for you. We're gonna turn that off now. It's so that they can still participate in some of the things that you like without it being too age inappropriate for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I was playing Baldur's Gate earlier, and I had to have a window over my screen so that when he would walk by, I'd put up the window, like the internet page over top of it, and wait for him to walk away, and then I'd take it down and put it back up. Like there are just certain parts of certain games that kids are not allowed to see. That shit just ends up with nightmares. Us, we're adults, we could kind of differentiate, which I'm working with him on that of what's real and fake, but it takes a long time to kind of create that mindset.
Right. Well, and the other thing is what you don't want to do is tell him the difference between real and fake and him stifle the imagination that creates the fake world, right?
Yep, yeah. So it's a delicate balance when they're that young. So you gotta try to work with them and help them grow and kind of make their difference while also keeping the imagination alive. It's complicated.
Yeah.
Other parents understand.
Well, it's I think one of the reasons too that games like Minecraft and similar crafting games that are built on that are as popular as they are is because it allows children to be able to be creative and realize they're in a virtual world, right?
Yes, right. Which we bought Minecraft for him, and we're trying to kind of get him into it because it's perfect. It's a kiddie Lego style game where there's not any real things that are too scary. But I
don't know, the creepers are pretty scary.
You could turn them off. You could go on the easy mode, and there's like no threats.
That's fair. That's fair.
Which is, I played it on normal, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this isn't too bad." And he was watching, and I was like, "There's a lot of threats, and there's a lot of like action activity on here. I should probably turn it down to easy so that he can kind of, get his bearings first without it being like pressured everywhere."
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah. But yes, I'll tangentially off of that, Lego games, kids friendly, double dipping, access to a bigger community, things like that.
Yeah.
Especially at Nintendo. Nintendo loves their kids.
But not in a weird way.
No.
Just adding that in. Not in a weird way.
We're in a sad place in the world where we got to add that in.
Fair. What's next? What we got?
Well, we can either go Elden Ring or Paradox.
Elden Ring.
Two mediocre things.
Do the
Elden Ring DLC came out yesterday, 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And it is slipping into mixed ratings on Steam because it is too like I get the performance issues, like there's some performance problems with it, which is fine. Go ahead, leave it. But I do not understand how people in this day and age can complain about difficulty in a Souls-like game at this point. Like, what you're getting into.
What's crazy to me is this is an argument we had when Elden Ring first came out, too.
I know.
And they were like, yeah, we're not putting an easy mode on it or whatever it was.
Well, they said that it basically fundamentally would break the game if you put it in easy mode because of the way that game is designed. It's designed to be difficult, and there's a reason for it. And some of the argument that, people are saying that it's more difficult when you have to beat 2 different bosses in the main game just to unlock the DLC part of the game. So you already had to have gotten to a certain point just before you could play this. Why you would want to play DLC before you beat certain parts of the game anyway, I don't know. But so you have to beat those 2 just to get to that point. I want the DLC to be more challenging if that's the case. If I've gotten to a certain, I don't want it to be the same or less difficult. If I had to get to a certain point anyway, I want it to be a continuation of it. I look at it the same way I do. It's like Doom and Doom Eternal. Like the when they released Doom, it had a certain amount of difficulty, and then when you got to Doom Eternal, it leads into that and becomes more difficult as you go. But you've already learned how to play the game. Now you're learning. You're just having to increase your abilities basically, and they give you tools to do so. Now I can't speak for Elden Ring, but for Doom they give you tools to be able to succeed. But
yeah, I feel like it's supposed to be, an extension of the game, not necessarily like, oh, I loaded up a new character just so that I can go to the DLC.
Don't do that.
There are not many games that give you DLC that you can be like, all right, well, made it out of the tutorial, time to go do the new stuff, because that's kind of not what it's for. Like, it's supposed to be for later.
It's supposed to be for New Game Plus runs. Like, it's supposed to be after you beat the game, you start over again, you're strong, the game is going to be in a difficult state, but you're very powerful compared to it, and then you kind of beat the first couple of bosses, and then you have access to it. You've already beaten the game, you understand how it plays, you're proficient in it, your character's leveled, you're strong. You've got good gear.
I saw a thing that, pro players are offering to help new people get through it, and it's like, well, but I mean, isn't that defeating the purpose of playing it yourself? Why don't you just watch the pro player do it at that point?
Because, all right, me and Grif had this discussion beforehand, and part of the reason why Elden Ring is so popular is that in that game, you don't have a difficulty slider, okay? You don't. The difficulty changes based on how much time you put into the game. If you are a good player and you want it to be difficult, then you go through the bosses. Minimalist. Like, you just load up, you go through the mobs, and you go to the bosses and you fight based on your skill alone. If you're bad at the game, then you take time, you grind out levels, you over-level bosses, and then you go fight them and you just straight whoop them. Like, then the difficulty becomes lower. The game is as hard as you make it. You either take your time and just clear everything and grind out levels and make yourself strong, and then go fight bosses, or you go to the bosses and make them harder. The difficulty is up to you. It's not a slider like normal games. It's a time investment. The more time you spend, the easier the bosses is. The less time grinding, the harder the bosses are. It's however you want to play it. Get summons, get friends, do whatever you want. You can make the game as easy as you want, but you have to be proactive about it. You don't just get to slide it down into easy and go, I don't want to challenge. I just want to run through the game and beat the bosses. You don't get that option in Souls-like games.
Well, and that's like Old Man played through this game. Not a style of game that he would normally play with Elden Ring at all. In fact, he's a rage quitter. So you can imagine, right?
Right.
But he went through and grinded his way through the game. The game was given to him, I think, as a gift or a present or
I remember him talking about that when I was playing.
And so he felt obligated to play the game and beat it because it was given to him. And so he went through and just steadily went through, played the game, and finally beat the game. Now, he wants to play the DLC, which surprises me, but he enjoyed the game so much for the payout at the end that allows him to be able to go through and, because he feels like accomplished, right? And I get that. I understand that. But it's like if you are at this point, have played through the entire game and you're complaining about the difficulty of the DLC, I think you missed the point.
Yeah. Like, it's wild that so many people are complaining about how difficult it is.
And I agree. Like the performance issues and stuff, that happens all the time. Yeah. And it's, like I'm currently playing through Jedi Survivor, and that game will crash about every hour and a half for me. And
I didn't have any issues.
Yeah, nice. Well, it's different, but it's like when it was released, the PC version of the game is notoriously had issues, and I'm one of the people that's got issues where I had no issues with Cyberpunk, and people had tons of issues.
I had issues with Cyberpunk and Grif didn't. We were literally right next to each other. My game would crash and have bugs like crazy, and she got her first run like pretty minimalistically bug free.
Yeah.
So it's just, you literally just flip a coin. It doesn't matter. You could have two identical machines running it, and one person just happens to run into the problem, and then the other person never sees it. It's just,
it's got to be based on their choices at some point too. That messes with the spaghetti code.
I mean, it could be how how something loads, how an enemy turns, or if they get stuck on something, then the code starts twisting, and then your game crashes. I don't know. There's a multitude of problems. Since so many systems are just running at the same time.
Yeah, the biggest issue on the Survivor one that I have is when it's going in and out of cutscenes.
Okay.
So, but I'm also, I could probably turn down the graphics and stuff like that, maybe cause a little less bind. But I've got a pretty beefy machine at the end of the day, and it's having issues. So,
real beef.
So, but yeah, I just feel like you got a group of people that a lot of them are probably out of practice too, if you think about it, because the game's 2 years old. They probably played it 2 years ago, and then they're going, "Oh, I'm going to play the DLC." Yeah, they haven't played it a day since, and now they're having to get back into the groove.
I will tell you. Yeah, go ahead.
I know there's going to be some people that have gone through and either re-rolled a character, like you said, go through the New Game Plus version of the game, and went through and played again. But not everybody's going to do that.
Yeah, and I've gone back and tried to play Sekiro, and it's like the first few enemies are giving me a little trouble because my hands aren't back at master form, where before I was like just handling everything. Last boss, like I was doing it. Now I get back into it, it's like, oh man, I gotta practice to get this back because holy shit, these things are difficult. It just takes time. With games like that, it takes time. Like, and I will say that the creator of the FromSoft, he hasn't created his ideal RPG yet. Elden Ring, he says Elden Ring is closer to his perfect vision, but it's not quite there yet. So I'm hoping we get to see another Sekiro game, please. The rhythmatic style of combat was just that good. That's right, that good.
Well,
All right. Last one we got on here is Paradox has shut down the Life by You studio. And hey, my entire right side just completely went out on my ear. That's great.
Hey, welcome to my world, right?
I was like, why am I hearing out of one ear and one ear only? What is happening right
welcome
now?
to my world. It sucks, doesn't it?
So it shut it down. It's a 24-person team that they shut down. The interesting thing to me is I saw an article the other day. I don't know if it's in this one or not, that the people that were developing the game, it was like 3 days from starting its early access.
June 4th was supposed to be the start of early access.
Yeah. Well, and then they postponed it.
Yeah.
Right then, and then they ended up shutting it down. Well, they said that they did everything within their power to convince them to try to do early access, and the powers that be kept saying nope, nope, nope.
My guess is, and this is all just me speculating, I cannot give you any like, oh, but this tweet insinuates. It's not. It's just me like throwing some darts in the dark. But Paradox is still dealing with the fallout from the disastrous City Skylines 2 launch. Still dealing with that. And I think that right now they're afraid that if they put anything out that is less than perfect, it will kill them as a developer, publisher, all entity in general. So I think that led to their decision. Like, I don't think the game was working like they wanted it to. And they were too scared to release it even in an early access format because of how harshly they were going to be graded on it, essentially. Which I don't disagree with that, because they really got to knock it out of the park to recover from City Skylines 2, which still I think isn't working properly. But it does make me sad. This was like Red and I have been looking forward to just about any Sims competitor to try out and see, and I was really interested in this one to know that it was just like the game canceled and then 24 hours later the whole studio gets shut down. That's wild. It just sounds like there was some sort of disconnect between what the studio might have promised originally and what they would have actually been able to deliver on. Like, maybe it just narrowed the scope too much. And Paradox is like, look, we already told them it's going to be this, and if it can't be this, then we can't do that.
Well, and Tectonic even tried, in that other article I read, stated the fact that they even tried to buy the rights to the game away from Paradox, and they told them no.
See, I don't understand that. Like, Paradox has before sold off a property to kind of like offload it because they weren't going to be able to do the thing. So I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. My guess is, let me Google this. Hang on.
She's just Googling.
I'm just Googling. I meant to Google it before we got started, but I ended up looking at something else and it completely left my brain.
What? Us? That never happens. I make stuff up.
Yeah.
Maybe they were afraid that it would have been. Well, you know what? I'm not sure. Like, one of the person leading the studio was Rob Humble, which the reason that I know that name is because you get the introduction to Sims 2. He shows up at your house and drops off a computer for you and everything. It's because he's one of the developers of Sims 2, and like a huge reason that it was what it was. So I don't know. Maybe they were like, we can't give it to you because you'll make another absolute like runaway and we won't be a part of it at that point. So maybe they were I guess selfishly guarding their own interests.
I mean, but you could put it in there and go, yes, you can purchase it, but we get like 3% or 2% or 5% or whatever you want to put percentage wise off of everything sold. On top of such and such amount of money. I guess I really don't know. I think here's the problem I think you're going to run into now too, is if he decides he wants to make another game and start from scratch with the same crew, does the whole thing all by himself and everything else. Now Paradox comes after him for assets stolen or some stupid shit like that.
Oh, it feels like a darker again.
Yeah.
Nexon coming after them.
No, that was our idea. How dare you?
Maybe they couldn't make it different enough from The Sims.
I mean, how do you make it different? It's a
I don't
sim
know. It's
game.
a life sim. Like, that's kind of the whole thing. The Sims is literally just a life sim. All of them are gonna be like that. Everybody's gonna have to like have an eat, sleep, go to work cycle. You know.
That's the same principal argument of how do you make alternative sports games.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the problem is here. I don't know.
Which is why fundamentals are going to be there as far as how it's going to function. It's just you've got to do your own unique little twist or whatever into it.
Which is why,
like instead of a big green
Streets,
diamond on top of your head, you end up putting a circle.
It's called a plumb bob. God, call yourself a nerd.
I'm proud of you, chicken.
I only did that for the brownie points.
Oh God.
It is sad though. I was looking forward to that one, especially since I knew it was like running up to early access. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what people say about it. Never mind.
Yeah,
I won't know what people are going to say about it because it doesn't exist.
Stuff and things. That's what they're going to say.
Stuff and things. But, well, I guess that one. Back to the drawing board.
Maybe we'll get a good alternative to Sims
there's
one day.
Still, Viva Land that's supposed to be coming out that is supposed to be a Sims, a cooperative version of The Sims where you can play it with your friends. It's the one that Foxy and I tried out, the home editor, because you can put your homes next to each other and edit and go look. Although their editor suite was very, very limited and sometimes a little difficult to use, so I hope they would improve that, but maybe that one?
I mean, right now that's the only one, 2024 at some point.
Up to 8 players.
Yeah, and there's one other one that I've got. I can't open my Steam right now because I'm sure it'll open it over this window, which will completely destroy the video, but there's another one that I've got on my Steam list their wish list that doesn't have a release date either, that is a Sims competitor. I just want somebody to come out with a good life sim that does compete with Sims so that I don't have to, keep up with what EA's doing, because I did not buy Sims 4. I have no interest in Sims 4, and I don't think they're going to bring me back for Sims 5.
No, Sims 5 is going to be a free-to-play MMO style that is going to be pumped so hard with micro and macro transactions. It's gonna make them so much money.
It's going to be Sims Online, but with more microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Get into EA right now. Buy some EA stocks, because when Sims 5 comes out, oh yeah, they're going to be making hand over fist.
I feel like if I was a sim developer of some sort, like creating it, you could go, all right, we're going to create a DLC, and the DLC would be like $10, and do that like once every 6 months, and nobody will ever know. Like, we'll still make a ton of money versus them going, okay, here's $40 for your pets. Here's $25 for a swimming pool.
EA's not going to do that. They're going to they're probably going with the next one to be like, hey, you want pets in your game? Give us $70.
Yeah.
It'll be like every month. Didn't they have this recently too? Like every month it'll be like a fucking battle pass pack or some shit that, you get it and you get a bunch of like colored skins of closets or dressers or some shit, and like an animal or a colored skin for an animal or some shit, and you got to do that, and then you could buy an additional to that $10 pack, like another $10, and you get a couple more colored variations.
I don't understand. Here's my thing: is these are fucking single player games. Like, I get 5 that might be a possibility to be an MMO version, but these are single player games originally. That's what they started off as. You get to create your own little world, how you wanted to do it, build that world the way it is. And having a DLC to it every once in a while is not that big of a deal. But setting it up into going, okay, in order to unlock this rug that you have right here, you gotta unlock, you gotta pay us for a battle pass once a month or once every 2 months, and hit milestones, and they're the same fucking milestones every time. It's just stupid to do shit like that in a game like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all about that money.
Yeah, because Sims 4 is free to play on Steam.
It
okay?
is. The base
free to
game
play.
is free to play now.
Yeah, that's right. You want to know how much all the DLC together right now is on Steam?
$350.
$1,200.
Yeah, I was about to say 1,100. So
$1,200, $1,244.20 for all the DLC for Sims 4. Now,
that's what I'm saying.
Also,
if you are a sim person, not EA sim, I'm talking if you were manufacturing your own game, you could get away with charging $10 for your DLC every time. Do this every 3 to 6 months. Unlock some thing for $10, and no one's gonna say a word because their alternative is to spend $1,200.
Like, it blows my mind that they charge $40 for cats and dogs, $40 for seasons, something that should be normal. That it just changes for seasons. $20 for vampires.
That wasn't a thing of the original Sims, but I mean the original one, it was like, okay, that was understandable because it was something that at the time was like, well, no one really thought about changing the seasons or anything in it.
But now that should just be get that.
Yeah,
but you got in their defense, and this is only a mild defense in order for me to play devil's advocate just a little bit.
Do that.
In Sims 2, they did start doing that where it's like, all right, here's your base game, and it kind of like Baka said, it's like, well, they didn't really have the idea for some of it early on, but you did get things like the seasons expansion, or I think with theirs it came baked in with one of the others. It wasn't straight just seasons. Sims 3, they did a seasons expansion that was just the seasons, but it came with some of the other, like the generations kind of thing where you got different life states and all of that, and the pets one was all by itself. There was the apartment life that kind of introduced new building styles, which was nice. I mean, that's a DLC that actually gives you a whole separate thing. And then there was, I don't know how many expansion packs there were for Sims 2, but I feel like they were spread out enough and price pointed appropriately that it was nice to have some of them, or a lot of them in my case. Sims 3 is where it started to get a little more off the rails because they did do things like Seasons was its standalone expansion, and it's like, you want me to pay? You want me to pay another $30 for just
like
the Seasons?
I had quite a few of the expansions for like Sims 2, and a lot of it was things like what was it, the world adventure, where it's like, okay, now we have some maps you can temporarily explore, like over in Egypt or
that's Sims 3,
China. What was it, Sims 3?
Sims 2 had Bon Voyage, but I think you could send them on vacation, but I don't think it's been so long since I've booted up Sims 2. I don't remember actually going anywhere. I think you could send them on vacation, but you didn't go do anything in Sims 2.
It's been forever since I've played with them, so.
I know if you did Sims 2 University, it kicked you over to a new like neighborhood because it was the university neighborhood, where you had like the young adult life state versus you're a grown up or you're a teenager. Like, it gave you an in between, and you could go to college, but they gave you a whole nother place to go. But yes, in 3 they did world adventures where you actually went to Egypt or wherever it was and could play around and do stuff there.
I wanted to look it up so that I could make sure that I knew what I was talking about. But they need to do things like the herbs. I don't know if anybody remembers the one way back then that was a spin-off version of The Sims with a story tied to it. Like you actually manage your sim and play through the story in like a real life simulation story style. I played that one. That was actually a lot of fun because you kind of console. Yeah, it was on the PS2. Game Boy Advance, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and then Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
They were planning on making the second one, but eventually it got reworked into Sims 2. So, and then that's when they started doing expansions. Sims 3 is when they really pushed it, and then Sims 4. I mean, you got $1,200 worth of expansions. The game and the whole game cost $1,200.
The Sims 3 is probably pretty. Like, if you took all of the expansions from Sims 3, I do not have them all. Let me preface this by saying Sims 3 is where I lost all illusions of EA being a good company for that kind of thing. I do not have all of the expansions for that. But in Sims 3, if you did all of their monetization and everything, they had not only all of the DLC that you could get for like expansion packs and whatnot, but they also sold you separate neighborhoods on the through the website, and then had a store on the website where you could go and buy other items like a la carte. Like you could just buy outfits and stuff, and it wasn't part of any of the expansions. So if you wanted like that dress, you had to go to the Sim store and buy that dress. You couldn't be like, well, that dress comes with the Pets expansion, I'll just get that. No, it was you got to go to their store and continue to spend money like you were shopping at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Which is wild to me.
Also, keep in mind, I had to look it up just to see. This is the 10th year for Sims 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're $1,200, that's $120 a year.
Yep.
So you're spending $120 a year on the game, which, I mean, to be
$10 a month isn't too bad.
Think about what you do normally for video games and stuff, and people put into games and things like that. $120 a year is really not bad. The problem is when you look at the fact that you're spending $40 at a time for an add-on of some sort just to get pets and things like that, that's where it becomes bad. Because it's like, had they been like the battle pass thing you were talking about earlier, and they were like, oh, it's just $10 a month or something like that, which would be $120 a year. It doesn't come off that bad. But when you look at it and you go, here's $1,200 just to get everything that's been released over the last 10 years, and some of that shit is 9 years old and 8 years old, and it's probably still full price.
You know, thinking about that, that's actually quite an interesting concept that EA has done. Looking at Sims 3 and all of its DLC is $379.81. It's only expansions. Only expansions in The Sims 3. It's $20 for the game, $379.
That does not include the store content.
Yeah. No, none of the store content. But Sims 4 has all the store content on there, over $1,200 of content, which I don't know. Does Sims 4 have a store that you can buy from?
I'm
sure they do.
I have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised, because if you could make even more than that $1,200 by selling items a la carte like that, or selling new, because like I said, there's new neighborhoods that you don't have access to unless you buy the neighborhoods on the store for $3. Which they're great neighborhoods. Like, I'd love to have them, but I'm not spending, I think it was like $20 per neighborhood.
It's all the packs and all the clothes or whatnot are part of the packs that they have on Steam. Like, you can't buy individual stuff. You have to buy
so
packs.
All $1,200 would cover everything.
Everything that they have released from the game. Everything. Okay. And, like, if you started playing 10 years ago and you've been playing, $10 a month is just your regular MMO subscription. It's even cheaper than that. It's no big deal for most people. Like, if you're going to play something like that constantly, okay, no big deal. But the barrier to entry, like, if you're trying to get new people, like, I mean, yeah, you play it for free, and then you're like, wow, I can't really do anything. The base game has nothing. You got
I think that's
$100 to catch up on.
What this indicates to me is EA next year is announcing the next Sims game. Is what that
so
means
that they can get everybody back in at the base level, and then start releasing everything back out, so that everybody can kind of buy little bits at a time until the end.
And, you know, now that we're talking about how much money it costs, like how much you had to spend and everything, I think that probably led into their decision to do that dumb thing of tying the emotional state into items so that you couldn't have that many custom items, because one, that means they can sell more. Two, it means that modders can't really give you all the modded content that you used to be able to get, because, I mean, I've got my mods folder for my Sims 3 game has like, this is probably an embarrassing amount, but like 75 gigs of mods, so that I have 75 gigs of added content that I didn't have to pay for, because modders made it and they're cool and they like to share their stuff and whatnot. I mean, you can like donate on Patreon and whatnot, obviously, but it's one of those things where it's like, I just have a bunch of willy-nilly stuff because I like all of it and I didn't want to spend a fortune. But now they're like, oh, that coffee table makes you sad, you can't just mod that, now you have to buy her new stuff. Also, the emotional state is stupid. I'm still mad about that.
I mean, there's plenty of mods for Sims 4, so 69 pages, 1,376 results for Sims 4. Which, to be fair, isn't as many as I thought it would be after 10 years.
I wonder if there's a way to turn that function off now, and that's the reason they've done that.
I'm sure a modder has figured it out. I mean, leave it to the modders. They pretty much make the games better.
Oh yeah, 100%. Which is why when Baldur's Gate like finally gets handed over to the modding community, it's going. I'm calling it now. Baldur's Gate 3 is the next Skyrim. Like, the modding community will hold that game up so well that it will just transcend time. It's just going to go on. People will buy it years from now, and they'll still be playing it, and there will still be new mods and whole new storylines and all sorts of new stuff still coming out for it. I have no doubt.
Well, that was, yeah.
Well, one of the first things that'll happen with that is someone will find a way to fix Carlax's heart.
Oh, well, yeah, 100%. No doubt.
I'm pretty sure somebody's already working on that. There's probably, like, somebody that's working on a modded quest line right now to let you fix her, you know?
Oh, yeah. And you might be interested in it, Baka, but somebody made an entire roguelike mod for Baldur's Gate. Basically, it turns the game into a horde mode style. You start off as level 1, you have to fight a wave of enemies, and then you can level up, and they'll drop gear, and you earn skill points that let you adjust your characters you want. There's over 280 enemy types and 35 different maps. And you just go on and on and on as far as you can make it, and then when you're done, you restart. And it's up to 4-player co-op too. So, pretty neat that they made Baldur's Gate into a roguelike style.
That's different.
I'm a fireball everything.
Yeah, good luck. That'll last for a little while until you come across a whole bunch of fire-immune enemies.
I know we're getting to the point where we're going to be just talking about what we've been playing, because we've been playing Baldur's Gate. There is a mod already that is Party Limit Be Gone, where we can have 8 people in our co-op, and the party limit size is 16, which means everybody gets a party member. So I think that when all of our friends group, like Oak and Snitty and Sentry and everybody's finished it, we'll just play one giant campaign where we'll just roll through Faerun with a whole army.
Okay, we're gonna play on honor mode for that one.
Wait, I don't want to be out in the first 5 minutes because I'm dumb.
If you die, you die. You're out.
I think that'd be hilarious. Be like, oh no, the Absolute is here, and we're like, oh well, so are we. And they're like, you in what army? And we're like, this. Let's go.
This is our army.
You see all these tabs? Don't mind the Dark Urge back there. We're
gonna honor mode. I'm going to end up fireballing people, chicken.
Don't worry, I'm going to make sure that everybody's got an elixir of fire resistance constantly. It's always going to be on everybody.
And it doesn't even have to be that. Like, I will find something that will explode and kill half the group.
You keep telling me that, I'm just going to kill you early on and get rid of you then. You're going to be our biggest obstacle.
The whole party, including the NPCs, turn against Baka for
It's not the boss difficulties, it's the Baka difficulty.
Which means as soon as we get out of that the Nautiloid, I'm going to instantly ambush you. The giant brawl on the ship.
Can you imagine how fast we would face roll that guy in the first room on the Nautiloid? Like, oh no, that guy's scary. And it's like, well, there's 8 of us. Actually, 10 if you count the 2 that you pick up on the Nautiloid.
We gonna scale the difficulty up like crazy. Like, he's gonna have like 1,000 health right out of the gate, and he's gonna hit for like 50. So one person gets hit and just explodes. Oh god. CC him. Run. Don't touch him. Don't let him touch you.
But I want the sword.
Make him drop it again like you did the first time. I'll grab it and run.
That was fucking funny.
That was lucky.
The 3 of us have been playing Baldur's Gate as a group, which I fully recommend if you're going to play that game. Play it on your own first before you play as a group, because it is just a different experience and chaotic, and you don't get to pay as much attention to the story as a group. And I promise we won't spoil anything for you, because you finished the first room, so who cares? But
he's done. Wait, he hasn't finished the first room?
I just said he finished the first. He's in Act 3. Calm down.
Oh,
it's
okay,
all right.
I'm in Act 2.
Oh,
I thought you were in the city for some reason.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm close. But
we could talk about the Nautiloid.
Doing some other stuff right now.
Well, I mean, that's the tutorial zone. So
exactly. Yeah. You could talk about the Nautiloid.
I mean, I'm going to tell them what you did last night.
Which one? Which time?
Well, the thing that they're talking about, they got lucky, is at the beginning there is a hard fight that it's optional. You can run right past it. The objective is to run past it, but you get a really cool sword if you do the fight. And Chicka really wanted it because he's a fighter barbarian, and Baka did the drop your weapon thingy, and he did.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did it.
I did. Yeah, I did command. I cast command and told him to drop his weapon, and he just fucking drops it on the ground.
I can't believe it
picks it
worked.
up and
Yeah, I can't believe it actually worked. And I was standing next to him too, and I was like,
and we are on
Yoink.
tactician mode, by the way.
Yeah, we're playing
Yeah.
on not honor mode, but tactician. So I've not played on tactician. It's a little bit harder than I like to usually go, but I have these two, so at least something about it. It goes well. But they basically are assuming the roles of my bodyguards as I adventure through Faerun, and we're taking Gale with us. I think Chicken's mad about that because we did a spider fight and he threw two live spiders at Gale twice. It got back up and went up the thing after Chicken again, and Chicken's like, nope, and threw it back at Gale.
I didn't throw, I shoved.
Oh my god, it's the same thing. You made it rain spiders on Gale.
No. Throw, he has control of the direction.
For shove, you know what direction it's going.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, first of all, when I shoved him the first time, you were still moving Gale and moved him right into him. And I had to. I literally just got rezzed and picked up. There was no other action I could take. It was either dash and get hit or shove. And hopefully it worked.
And then later, when we were dealing with skeletons in a different place, I'm like, oh, let me move Gale over to help Chicken. He's got the last skeleton. And what does Chicken do? After Gale was standing there, Chicken goes, yeet, and shoves the skeleton right in Gale's face. I'm like, why do you hate him? Chicken has something personal against Gale and is trying to use the enemies to make it look like it's an accident.
Okay, first of all, if I was trying that, I would do it on purpose. I would pick up the skeleton and throw it at him.
It's just,
I wouldn't hide it. I'd pick up Gale and throw him if I could.
Three times in one night, and you tell me it's an accident.
I'm just a support that plays music and earns gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baka said he'd be good, so.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to misbehave, so I am the support. Although, I am a Gith Yankee that looks like Weird Al.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or if you have your hat on, Tom Selleck, because it puts your hair up.
Yeah, that as well. And I sleep naked. Almost naked.
Every time I'm never ready for it. The first time we go to camp and go to sleep, and all of a sudden there's a naked Gith Yankee. I'm like, oh my god! Oh, it's Baka.
My favorites is when you're in a cutscene and I go running by.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something. All right.
Baka's putting the comedy in our run for sure.
Yes.
We've been doing that, and we tried a new game. All 8 of us.
Yeah, Mask of the Deception.
Yeah.
Six of us. Six of us.
Six of
I
us.
didn't try shit.
Numbers are hard.
6 of us.
I want to play that again when Baka is around too, if we get a chance to. I think he would enjoy it.
I'm a mega fan of that game. Like actually reading through the tutorial, like reading through somebody's little guide of it. I am a super fan of that.
Let me tell you one of the most confusing parts of the night for me, because I didn't get a chance to read all the stuff. You can't look at the tutorial stuff while you're in the menu or like in the lobby, so I didn't get to read it all. And at one point, Chicken runs by and is yelling, "It smells like poo! Write it down! It smells like poo! It smells like poo!" And I was like, what does that mean? It took me forever. And I think it might have been Century, was like, it's a clue in your book. Smells like feces is one of the clues. And I was like, oh, I thought he was just being ridiculous. And I was so confused that everybody was taking him seriously.
I knew that there was the little smell thing or whatever, but I didn't know how to look any of that up. It's like, okay, because one of them was like smells like blood or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's blood in the air.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, and then there's the knocking thing. I had no idea. Like we knock, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
what's going on?
Okay. So after doing a little research with the guide thing, the paranormal zones, you can't have more than 2 people in them, or else they disappear. They will periodically spawn randomly around the map.
So you can't roll up in there as a whole team.
Yeah, you roll up in there as a whole team, it fades away, and you lost your zone. Which is also why you get different clues to each of the areas. Like, you have to investigate with somebody to figure out the zone and then you get your clues, and you know what it is. And if you activate the little voting stand thing and then cancel the vote, the letters start to spawn around the map. They're little glowy letters. They'll spawn all around the map, and they will spell out the name of the demon. So you have to find the clues. You got to find the clues, and then find the letters, and that will help you figure out who the demon is, and then you can vote them out. You vote the demon, what demon it is, and then you vote the person out, and then you win. I see why people said it has a high skill curve. Like it's hard to learn.
Well, and
because there's a lot of pieces to it.
Yeah, it has a lot that, like, in the one of the first enemies that spawn up is the shadow people, and you're supposed to be able to see them point at you, and then you have a minute to get to a safe zone. I never saw them, and they killed me twice.
Well, I'm gonna be 100% honest. You're not the most observant person.
It's dark.
And they will spawn. It even says, like, anywhere in your peripheral, like while you are running, they can spawn right there on your peripheral, and then just stand there as you run by. Like, you can completely miss it.
Those shadow people are cheating, motherfuckers.
That's why you have to, like, constantly be looking around. If you're ever running in one direction without looking, you're already in trouble.
Well, and if you're the demon, they still point at you too. It's funny.
Yes, they do.
They just don't do anything because they can't come out.
They just go,
It's 60 seconds after they point at you. If you are not in a UV zone, they kill you.
Which means we need to establish where the UV zones are gonna be before we start investigating, so that we know where to go. But that map is huge.
That is on the tablet user. The tablet user is the unofficial leader. They can tell you where the zones are. They can tell you if you're in a zone. They can watch the cameras, and they can see who's in danger. They're the ones that are supposed to be talking orders to everybody and telling them, like, okay, you're in a paranormal zone. Watch out. You've got, this is out. You're good. You're safe. Keep reading me clues. Put the Go Cam up there. I'll keep an eye on it.
So
like
should
things
they always
like that.
be in one place next to, like, the UV thing?
Yes, they need to be protected.
I call dibs on that. I want to learn how to work the tablet. I had it like almost every round. I just couldn't figure out what I needed to do with it all the time.
And you're supposed to put Go Cams near demon circles so that you can use it to keep an eye on them and watch if the demon is moving it. But the demon can go invisible and use the circle without being seen. So if they know a camera's on it, they have to be sly about it without getting caught. I want to play this game
so bad. I hate that we need all 6 of us.
The other thing about it is too is like you have the whole the idea of being able to, like, once you become a ghost, going in and basically you have to finish your chores. You have to go pick up the pages and go take them. Those pages are freaking hard to find.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'll see them shimmer somewhere like across the map, and then you have to figure out how to get to them and things like that.
See, and I find it interesting too, because as the normal person, the purger, there's nothing you can do to stop the demon, the bad person from running on. There's nothing you can do. Like, you can't stop them. But
ghosts can pick up the books. Which makes it
can pick up the book and steal the books. Yeah, so if somebody dies early, they can at least help, keep track of the books. They can't talk to the people, but they're the only ones that can run interference on the demon.
Yeah.
So losing one early, so you'll have the tablet person, 2 investigators, and then basically one trying to keep whoever is the bad guy occupied, or, trying to mess with them.
This game is definitely not like peak gaming or anything like that. Like it's a free to play game. It's got 1 map right now on Steam. But I wish that it had some optional setting things that are standard in every other game. Like Oak wants a gamma setting because it is very dark. It would be nice to lighten it a little bit,
especially when you're a ghost.
Yeah, when you're a ghost, because it puts like a film over your vision anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, to be able to see things a little better. So helpful, because even as a ghost, like, you're walking in a dark room and you're like, oh, I'm stuck to a wall. How did I get to this wall? How do I leave? Where's the steps? I can't see anything.
I wish I could change key bindings too, because dropping items from the middle mouse button is not
sucks.
And having V as my push to talk.
Yes, I wish that you could turn off push to talk and just leave it open mic, because I was trying so hard to scream at Oak not to move, because Baghead or whatever showed up behind him. And I realized I was screaming in my office here, and just to myself because I was not holding the push to talk and he died. And I was like, no, I said, oh wait, no, I didn't because I wasn't.
You didn't say shit.
Just let me turn off push to talk so that it can be open mic. I promise I'm not going to ruin it for my teammates.
Yeah. There's a few things that need.
We probably need to roll it in easy mode again now that we know what the demon can do.
Yeah.
In easy mode again, and then that way people can get used to playing as the demon too, and then introduce the bagman guy because he can kill the demon as well.
The bagman and the butcher starts automatically. He roams in a couple of very specific spots, and if you go near him, he'll kill you.
I saw him.
You just have to avoid.
In front of him.
I saw him patrolling one of the long hallways, and I walked in and I saw him walking back towards me, and I was like, nope, let me just close this door and go around the other side.
I finally saw him when I was a ghost. He was glitched out in a hallway, just walking in place.
That might have been after Sentry and I saw him because he was in a long hallway and he was at the other end, so we weren't getting a great look at him. But I just shut the door and I was like, maybe we don't go down there. And Sentry was
I do think it's interesting too, because like if you're the demon and you're switching into demon mode in order to be able to kill somebody, you can't go through doors. So as ghosts, it behooves us to close doors for our live people.
It was pretty funny. My first time being a ghost, I walked in a room, the door was open, and I walked in, and there were 3 like live people standing there, and so I just shut one door and walked to the other side and shut the other door, and they turned, like all of them instantly turned around and were looking at the door and opened it back, and I was like, shut. This is not my job, but I'm entertaining.
Well, what the thing was somebody had opened the door, and we thought it was whatever paranormal area that we were in that was causing the issue. And so somebody opened the door.
I was a ghost.
And we're like, okay. And then so we close the door, and then the door opens up again. And we were having a conversation at the time because we had like the little thing where you're supposed to talk and do it. And the door kept open. And Chicken was like, "Are you there?" Door would open. And we closed the door.
And I didn't know you were trying to talk to the ghost.
I know. But it was so funny because the timing, and it took like after the round was over, that's when I figured out what had actually happened, and I was like, "Oh my god, the comic timing of that is beautiful."
Because we can't hear, so like the live people can't give the ghosts like, "Go do this, go do that." I know you're around somewhere, just go do the thing. You can't hear the other side, so I had no idea what they were doing. They were all just standing there, and I was like, "This is perfect. I'm gonna mess with them because there's a group." That was great. I really do want to play that game some more though. Like I like that kind of investigation game where you've got a little bit of like the fear factor, but you're also like, I really need to work out this problem. If the ghost could fuck off for 5 seconds.
Yes, like I like the clues that you have to find, because it like once you understand what the tools do and the simplicity of it and how they work, it's like, okay, you've just got to be fast because the demon can work fast too, and you got to make sure that you try to investigate and at least get an idea of what it is to get a couple of clues ahead before the demon starts murking people.
Yes.
Or the shadow people, because you're always on the defensive.
Well, In things that we didn't play, because I'm not discussing what happened in Party Animals the other night. I'm not going to be mad about it again. Just going to let it go.
Baka was 6-0.
I'm just going to let it go. I don't want to talk about it because it'll make me angry and I don't want to be mean to him again.
No, chicken. Let it go. Let her talk.
Mute your headset. Why doesn't Baka get to have a badass moment?
Fine, go ahead. Gloat about your wins. Go for it.
I'm not gloating about it.
No, not you, him.
I'm not going to gloat.
Yeah, right. That smirk says otherwise.
I just find it funny on her reaction, but she's like, I don't want to get mad about it again and yell at him. And it's like, well, it wasn't like I was trying to go out of my way to piss everyone off.
You went out of your way in one of those rounds, and I've already okay.
Chicken, why are you this way? Why are you this way? We just
I was born this way. Hey, she married me and she knew she was going to get
games we didn't play. What were you about to say?
I got in trouble for you don't play new games anymore. Well, all right then. I started Immortals of Aveum, whatever. That game. They've said it a bunch, but whatever.
Not paying attention.
I mean I am, but I'm pretty sure it's Aveum. But they have some of them have slightly different accents, so I've heard it like 3 different ways across the game, and I'm not really sure. I don't know who's right here, but this game has some good ideas at its core. It has too much happening on the screen sometimes. Like, you have so many things that you can do, but you are also, all of your stuff is color-based, and the enemy stuff is, like, color-based, and it's hard to keep track of your UI and all of the explosions that are happening in various rainbow colors at the same time. I kind of wish they would have streamlined that a little bit. The gameplay itself, not terrible. Okay. I'm just gonna harp on this one piece. And it's not super spoilery or anything, but my character witnessed somebody get this little thing that you hold in your hand, and it's rock. And then he witnessed somebody use that to bind a laystone item, like a big shield thingy, to the handheld device. It's a binding stone. Every single one of our higher-ups that are the smartest people in the realm are like, we have to figure out what the binding stone does. What is he doing with it? What does it do? It's a binding stone. And Jack watched him bind a ley line thing to it. We know what it do.
You call it that. It
literally is in the name.
If you're calling it binding stone, you know what it does. That's what I look at.
It's one of those things where it's like, if it's an issue of we need to understand how it functions, that's different than what does it do. Just yelling at each other, what does it do? We need to figure out what it does. Y'all are smarter than that, according to the lore. I'm just saying. But I've gotten to a point, yesterday Chicken had to help me because I suck at platforming, and this has turned into, it went from, it's a shooter, to it is now a puzzle solver with platform elements. And I'm like, I didn't necessarily expect this twist, but I spent like half an hour in a room trying to figure out how to do a thing. And then Chicken comes in and he's like, so what am I supposed to do? And I tell him, I'm like, I think this is how it works, but I can't get the timing on it right, and everything. And he was like, he tried it a couple of times. He's like, oh, you're just overthinking it. You donut. Here's how you actually do it. Because I was trying to make it harder than it should have been. But then I had to get him to come back like 10 minutes later, because the next room I'm like, I got to get from here to there to there to there and over there and then do that thing and then jump back here, and I don't know how this.
And guess what the problem was that time?
I didn't see a thing.
Still overthinking it.
I didn't see. Okay, to be fair, one of the colors is red, but that red is anywhere on the spectrum from actual red to almost black red to like orange, and it was an orangey color, like an amber color, that was on something that is very similar colored, and I did not see it. I was like, I looked at it like 100 times. I know I did, and I just did not see it because it blended in.
I walked by it, like, I think the second or third time I walked by it, and I was like, man, what the fuck is that? It looks different. But because I haven't played the game, I didn't understand the rules to it or understand it. And after spending about 10 minutes in there, I was like, there is something that I am missing because I haven't played this game. Like, it's not hard. It is not difficult. There is not a single part that is like a problem. And I happened to walk by while she looked, and she's like, "Oh, it's that right there." And I was like, "That is that it right there?" And yeah, it's just a little. Hold on one second.
Oh, that might be better, child. There, he's being maybe rambunctious. So, yeah. He figured it out. To be fair, in my defense, there was one other one that I ended up looking up what I was supposed to do because I needed to hit a green thing, and I didn't see anything green. You want to know why? Because it was black. Because it was in a shadow.
It's
like
some of the choices they make in this game, and like one of the things is because Grif and I've talked about this a little bit. I started the game, and had and started playing the Survivor game instead. But I feel like there are, besides the writing, some of the writing, I feel like they went where most games will go, hey, here's a weapon. Learn to use this weapon. And then you go, let's say 2 chapters with a weapon. And then they go, hey, here's a new weapon. Learn to play with this weapon for a little while. Couple chapters. learn a new, then you learn a third weapon.
You just swap them
This
out.
one goes, here's your weapon. Go to the top of this hill. Here's you a weapon. Go to the top of this hill. Weapon. Fight a little bit. That chapter's done. Now the next one. So they get like in one chapter, they give you 3 weapons.
Yeah, they give you all 3.
And it's like, it's like they're trying to rush through this game as fast as they possibly can.
They didn't do a whole lot of building you up. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, I'm not joining this war that's going on and all of this stuff, and that's silly. And then one thing happens, and all of a sudden you're like the best mage that's ever lived, and they really, really need you. But they're all going to treat you like shit because you're the new guy, but you're super important and, like, in ways way better than everybody else at the table, but they're still going to be a dick to you. They did not do a good job of making characters that make you like the game. It just... I'm struggling with that myself because I love for you to tell me a story where I can at least have 1 or 2 characters that it's like, I really love this character and I will slog through this awful stuff specifically to get more with this character. All of them, every time one of the other characters shows up, I'm like, please don't talk to me. Oh, he's talking. Or, oh, she's talking. Like, they just make some of the dumbest choices and they've made them all, like, prickly to the point that it's not endearing. It's too much. And they want you to still, like, they want them to have that likable edge to them, but they're too pompous in a lot of cases.
Well, and the thing is, like, they have Gina Torres as one of the voice actors for the game. And it's like, you're using somebody that's probably a pretty expensive voice actor because she was on Suits for a lot of years and is well known. And you're going to bring her in and she's a great actress. And then you're not, at least in the part that I played, you're not really utilizing her in a good way, in my opinion. And it's like, and then on top of that, it's like, oh, well, you know, we're just going to phone in when we go write the actual script for this as well.
It has some really good ideas, but the problem is some of the ideas they are too overt about, where it's like, this is supposed to be an allegory for, and usually you're like, yeah, I'm smart enough to read between the lines. I get what this is an allegory for in the real world. They're like, do you get it? Let me say it again. Oh my God. And it's like, bring it back a little bit. Cut your characters back from this caricature that you've made them into actually being likable characters, because they have that core where they can be likable. You've just put so much bigger than life stuff around them that they're not likable. And they all make dumb, like, incredibly stupid decisions. All of the characters. And only one, I'm in chapter 8 or 9 out of 17, only one character, and I've only had one interaction with them, but only one character has told me the truth about things and not been a dick about it. And it's not even a character that I get to spend time with right now, and I'm hoping that I do at some point, because, God, that was refreshing. All the rest of these characters just treat you like you're an idiot. It's like, I get that I'm a low guy on the totem pole, but I'm also the most powerful mage in the room. Maybe tell me what's going on. Like, Jesus. It's questionable. I'm gonna finish
so
the
question, the main character, Jack, does he feel the same way you do?
He's starting to get pretty tired of it. But it's one of those.
So maybe that's the thought process, is to get him to that level, and so you feel it before he does. But it's one of those where maybe that's the process. So
it also feels like they skipped a lot of the actual story development. It feels like you said, they want to do a lot in a little amount of time, which is part of the problem, because he was like, I'm not fighting this war. It's dumb, and I want to live. And then one thing happens, and he's like, yes, sir, sign me up. I'm gonna lick some boots. Let's go. I'm a soldier now. It's like, but okay. But we didn't get any development in between any of that in order for you to feel that way. You just are. It's very jarring when you get that kind of, like, shift in tone sometimes. They wanted to do a lot with that game, I can tell. It got too short.
Then EA got involved.
Maybe that's the problem, I guess. I mean, it may be kind of similar to what happened with Titanfall, because Titanfall had some of that, or not Titanfall. What am I thinking? Anthem, yes. The big things. Yes. Anthem had some of that issue too, where it was like, there's a lot of story that you want to tell me, and I know where you're going with it, but you're leaving pieces out, assuming that my brain will just fill in the blanks for you. And so you've skipped some of the stuff. But I will say Anthem had more endearing characters that I liked, like Matthias and everything. I still remember his name. It's been years. Than this one, than the Immortals have. So far, they haven't given me a character that
Part
I'm
of
like,
that could be who the writing team itself, right? Has
Yeah.
created the characters that
so
you're dealing
look at
with.
me. I'm playing a newish game. It came out last August. So it's not even out a year yet. I'm playing it. I'm doing it.
You're doing the things.
I'm doing
the
the
stuff
thing.
and the things.
I'll be playing 2 new games this year probably, so I mean, it depends on Dragon Age being on one of the streaming services, or well, like Game Pass or whatever, but I will definitely be playing Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's not going to be on Game Pass. I'm quite certain about that.
I don't know what their EA thing, EA relationship.
It'll probably be on the EA thing. Well, no, it won't be on Game Pass. It will not be on Game Pass. Can almost guarantee that. It will be on their personal service.
Oh.
You'll be paying like $45 a month to play on it.
45.
Good lord. Oh, no thanks.
Basically,
at that point, I would just buy it and be like, all right, fuck it, let's go. So
give it time, see how it is.
I do need to see how it is. I need to know. But I also need a release date. So, I need to know if it's going to overlap my Silent Hill time, because that cannot be.
Let's see, Pro.
The EA Pro plan, Pro plan. Is it called that? Please tell me it's not.
It's the EA Play Pro.
Oh.
Only on the EA app.
That still sounds terrible.
Yeah,
how much
it's
does that cost?
$120 a year or $17 a month.
Slightly more than a WoW subscription. I'm pretty sure I could play it in... Oh, God. Do not tell me they added the stupid real-time war table back to it, because that's just so infuriating. Hopefully not that. Guess we'll find out, though, because then it will take me more than a month to play it, because I'll have to wait for stupid real-time war table events so that I can continue my story. Stupid. I'm telling you, when I got Dragon Age Inquisition for PC, the first thing I did was went to Nexus Mods and saw if there was a mod to make that not real time, and there is.
Get rid of the war table. Yeah.
It's not get rid of it, it's just so that you can complete them instantly, because some of them are like 48 hours.
Trust me, I know. I played it just bare.
I know, I did too. I played it on
back
console
2 days later
times.
just to finish that shit. Ugh.
It was nice to actually get through all of the war table content, though, because some of it is like pretty good lore development in the background. But I mean, I am not trying to wait 4 or 5 days for a war table thing to complete. Like, jeebus. Y'all are stupid.
Yeah, the war table is longer than the game itself.
It probably is.
No, it definitely is. I could beat that game faster than I could complete everything on the war table.
And I think one of the first, when they introduce you to it, one of the first things you do in Hinterlands, you have to go back to the war table and make it an hour thing. So you have to do the stuff in the Hinterlands, go to the war table, set it up to do an hour, and then go and try to busy yourself for the next hour so that it'll finish up so you can actually progress the story. Stupid.
Yes.
You could do a speed run of the game with war table, and it'll take you like a year.
I don't think I will. That mod is one of the best mods across any game ever that I've experienced. Like, thank you for getting rid of that garbage wait time, because that's all it is. It's just artificially inflating the playtime. So, is there anything that you've been playing, Oak? Sorry, I ran off with all of that stuff.
Just been playing Jedi Survivor. Playing it, and then playing Icarus with friends and stuff. So I'm enjoying Jedi Survivor. I think it's a good sequel to the last one, which was Fallen something.
I'm surprised Baka didn't instantly have the answer for you.
No, I was surprised too. Fallen Order, thank you.
He did.
I think it's a pretty good sequel so far. The only issues that, like, I'm having the issues to where every time it's crashing, and then I'll have this weird one. This was what's weird too. If I've been playing for a while, and this is why I know it's about to crash too. So I have to make sure I have saved recently. But it'll shutter. So when you go to do a turn, you see 2 of everything when you make it.
You're like, oh, here it goes.
And I'm like, oh no, I don't like that. That can't happen. No, it's. The writing's really good. The guy that plays Cal, I like him as an actor anyway. He was on Shameless, and I like him as an actor. He's just really good, and they do a good job. Script writing, it feels it feels like his character's grown too. I don't know how much times there's a little bit of time between the two games. His little crew has broken apart for a little while and all that. And they've had
It
time
feels
to
like at
establish
least a couple of years.
I would agree with that. I think it's about 2 years, based on the way that they've set it up. But Grif looks pretty old comparatively from what I remember him looking like anyway. Yeah, it's a pretty good game. I'm enjoying it. I'm interested to see where the storyline's going. I have an idea of where it's going to end up going. But I wanted to just kind of finally play it, and now I'm going, all right, I could have played this on like Xbox Game Pass instead of this one, and I might not have had some of the issues I'm having right now, but it wouldn't have been as pretty. So
Yeah.
I'm fine with pretty at the end of the day. But yeah,
At least
it's pretty
you
good.
know, like you get the warning that your game is about to crash instead of it being like, I'm really invested. Oh, there it goes again.
Oh, now it'll do that every once in a while too.
Aw.
And when I first fired it up, it was doing, in which this one stopped after one of the recent driver updates, but it would do where it would go into one of the cutscenes, and I could hear everything going on in the cutscene, but it'd be stopped on somebody's face, you know, and then it would cut over to what was happening.
That's
so it was like, all right, yeah, but it's you know, gameplay wise, everything's fun. I like the puzzles that they have built into the game, and I'm always looking. That game, and there's certain games that they make me do this, and I know that I'm not the only person that this is the case. But there's certain games when I go into them, the first thing I do is look around and go, okay, what am I going to be able to climb on? Because of the ability to be able to move from one point to the other. And there's one area right now that I was like, okay, I've got to come back to this area because I was not able to climb up in the air. And I was like, okay, there's ability or something that I don't have
jump
yet.
Slightly higher, or
yeah, basically. So, it's pretty fun.
I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Baka, is there anything that you've been doing that we didn't cover?
Mostly just either Baldur's Gate working on my solo game, or I think that's no. I kind of started a little bit of Dave the Diver because I want to play with the Godzilla.
That is not a game I thought you would play, to be honest.
It's only because it's has Godzilla in it.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
that was the main reason. And I was like, I like the going under the water and exploring and shit like that. I like that. I do not like the restaurant part of it.
Oh, see, I love both. That's
not Baka's
to me,
gameplay usually, though.
Oh no, Baka does not like restaurants.
But now, what I don't like, what I didn't care for was the, but I think it's optional. Was they give you an optional to expand the restaurant to a different location? So you still have your restaurant and somebody else is running it. And I was like, it's way too much micromanaging shit because you're actually managing a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope. Okay, that's where I'm out. Like, I don't mind the rest of it, and the running back and forth mini game thing. Just kind of, it's a little bit different, but I prefer the exploring as well. But it is, I was fine with the other because it was just kind of a difference in gameplay. But I didn't like it when they added that part to it.
Yeah, I think my first goal is just gonna have like hire people to like run the shit, so I don't have to do any of it. It'll just autopilot that for me.
There you go.
You're limited on how many you could bring in, but if you hire in some good ones, it's almost that way. You'll still have to do a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, getting through that part quicker, like just like that. I just want to go fucking explore.
Good luck to you, Baka. I'm interested to see how far you get on that one. I mean, I have not played it, but I've heard Oak talk about it a lot because he was playing it a lot at one point. So I know some of the things I can pick out from what he's told me about it that I am curious as to how you handle. So keep us posted.
No, well, we'll see. Once I get to Godzilla, I may lose interest after that point.
I wouldn't be shocked. Surprised and shocked tried to happen at the same time. I wouldn't be shocked. Chicken, anything you wanted?
I've been just playing Baldur's Gate. We've been doing moving out, and that's about it.
Oh yeah, moving out.
Yeah, moving out.
Yes.
I mean, come on. We sometimes forget. It's been 2 weeks.
How? We were literally playing yesterday. Or no, not yesterday. It was
It
Thursday.
wasn't
we
yesterday.
Played
It was Thursday.
No,
Yesterday
Thursday.
we played Lethal
We
Company.
played Lethal Company.
Which I don't want to talk about it. They've made the Bracken angry, and I don't like that.
That's
You
so
people
many
deal with the
times.
Bracken
What do you
badly.
mean, you people? I didn't even look at him.
Okay, I don't know what you people are doing to him, but I saw him like 5 times before he killed Baka. Like, for some reason, you people are like, oh, it's the Bracken.
I don't.
Don't look
I
at him.
immediately look away from him.
I looked away and started going with you when you're like, "Oh, hey, the Bracken's down there." It's like, "Oh, okay," and I started going behind you, and he just comes up and just.
Yeah, Bracken was snapping them necks. That's all he was doing.
I was like,
mad.
I looked into his direction for like a brief moment when you were like, "Oh, hey, no, the Bracken's down that way." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool." But the motherfucker still killed me.
Yeah, same. Was walking away from him and everything.
He just wants loving, you know what
I
I mean?
mean, and I love him. The Bracken is a wonderful character model. Like, I think he's great. I think a lot of the monsters in Lethal Company are great character models and great mechanically. Yippee! The loot bag is the best, and I want one. I need one for my desk. But beside the point. But I think they did make him more aggro. So I think he now, once you've looked at him at all, he's likely to just start murdering.
Again, I saw him, like, as soon as I went in the back door, I saw him to the right, and I looked away, and I gave him a second, and he was gone. So I went down that hallway, and I was exploring, and I saw him down the left. And I looked at him, glanced at him, and looked away, and I gave him a few seconds, and he was gone down that hallway. So I went that way. And then I turned into, like, the big engine room and whatnot, and he was standing on the stairs over there, and I looked at him, and I was like, oh, shit, there he is again. And I turned around and went a different way, and he just left me be. Like, we went our separate ways.
So what you're saying is you had already upset him, and then he was just mad about it when the group showed up.
No, but probably because you guys were like, oh, there's the Bracken.
I did not
look
stare
away.
at him. I looked away immediately. He's like a jump scare. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to immediately look away.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You're supposed to look away. You guys keep meeting eyes. You see him and you're like, oh no.
That's not.
Like, stop looking at him.
That's not what happened.
And then after he killed everybody, then he finally killed me. I was like, of course. Everybody pisses him off, and then he comes to beat me up.
It's not my fault. I didn't look at him.
You died, didn't you?
I
You looked
did.
at
He
him.
murdered
You
me
looked
from
at him.
behind.
You looked
Like-
at him. Yeah.
Whatever. All right. Well, is there anything else?
Not that I can think of.
No.
Okay. Well, then let's go.
We appreciate everybody that hangs out with us every other week. And if it a respawn, make sure that, hit the little sub button, the little bell button, so that way you know exactly when one of these has gone live. Yippee. Also, make sure you go to twitch.tv/EliteChicken313, where it's getting closer to the fall. And Chicken's got some games he's going to have to play. So once we get to the fall, he'll have those. So make sure you hit the follow button for him there. So that way you're already set for the fall. Also, go to twitch.tv/MDBOaktree. You can watch me on there. I'm there about 3 days a week now. So, yay. Games. Play games. Appreciate it. Brave to Respawn. I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Baka.
See you.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.